Edgar Wright, the widely beloved film director and writer of Shaun of the Dead and Baby Driver fame. Full of wit and style, Wright is the definition of a film auteur. His distinct artistic identity sets him apart from his fellow filmmakers. He is famous for his exuberantly paced visuals, whip pans, swift transitions, and his usage of a diverse lineup of music to fill his movie's soundtrack. But how did the now established director get his start and make a name for himself? And how come he never directed Marvel's Ant-Man even though he had been signed on for years? Well, let's go back and find out.
Let's do this!
Edgar Wright was born in Poole, Dorset, England in April 1974, but he primarily grew up in Wells, Somerset. In the late 1980s and early 90s, Wright created a variety of short films using his Super 8 camera that was gifted to him. He later upgraded to a Video 8 camcorder after winning it in a competition. In fact, one of Wright's short films is included as a bonus on the DVD of Hot Fuzz. It's titled Dead Right, and was Wright's first foray into the police detective genre.
Up until kind of, sort of Space and Shaun of the Dead, I don't think I'd ever worked on anything that had more than one draft. And it kind of shows.
Think I'll improvise the script from now on?
Although it was made in 1993 when Wright was only 18 years old, it features some similar editing and filming styles that would become staples in his career later on.
Doc said Michael Myers.
This is Mike Myers.
It should be the Halloween mask.
This is a Halloween mask.
Wright attended Bournemouth and Poole College of Art and Design from 1992 to 1994, though it seems Wright was rejected from the school's film program twice.
What?
He ended up applying to their art school foundation course and was accepted. So it turns out Wright was a film school reject. Pretty ironic. However, he does say he looks back at his time at the college very fondly. Wright made his first low-budget feature film with his debut of a Western spoof titled A Fistful of Fingers in 1995. Even though Wright looks back with plenty of dissatisfaction regarding the final product, the film was picked up for a limited theatrical release and was even broadcast on the TV channel Sky Movies. Wright has stated he learned some valuable lessons shooting this project. Speaking of the film, Wright stated, "I learned that you need more coverage to pace the movie. It was a real lesson learned." Wright is content leaving his projects as they are though, and instead focuses on what's next. The feature film debut did catch the attention of comedians Matt Lucas and David Walliams though. They chose Wright to direct their production Mash and Peas, which led him to work on other BBC programs including the British comedy series known as Asylum. Now, this is important because Asylum was co-written and directed by Edgar Wright in 1996, and was what led Wright to meet his most frequent collaborator, actor and writer Simon Pegg.
There's no I in team, but there is an I in pie. There's an I in meat pie.
This meeting would spawn a plethora of future projects and create a partnership and friendship for years to come. During his tenure on Asylum, Wright met Jessica Hines, who would also play a role in Wright's career. In 1998, Simon Pegg and Jessica Hines were in the process of creating a show for Channel 4 called Spaced, or Lunched Out as it was originally titled. Pegg and Hines decided to ask Wright to direct the series after they remembered working with him on Asylum. Wright accepted and took a unique approach to directing the sitcom. He utilized more dramatic camera angles and had plenty of references to pop culture throughout the show. Wright even edited several of the episodes himself. Spaced was also the catalyst for bringing the actor and comedian Nick Frost into the equation. Simon Pegg became friends with Frost from working with him in stand-up comedy. They met each other through Simon Pegg's then-girlfriend. Nick Frost wasn't an actor at the time. In fact, he was a waiter, but Pegg suggested Frost for the role in the sitcom. Edgar Wright went with it, and so began the trio's career-long collaboration. After the success of Spaced, Wright and Pegg received their big break when they began developing a screenplay for a romantic-esque zombie comedy called Shaun of the Dead. The film released in 2004 to universal appeal and success, and has become a frequently referenced film within pop culture. Simon Pegg and Nick Frost's characters Shaun and Ed even appear briefly in Disney Channel's show Phineas and Ferb. Edgar Wright, a huge fan of the horror genre, was heavily influenced by other filmmakers like George A. Romero, the director of The Night of the Living Dead, and Sam Raimi, the creator of the Evil Dead series. He also cites the film An American Werewolf in London as one of his greatest film inspirations. The great success of Shaun of the Dead paved the way for a trilogy of films from Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg that weren't connected in story, but connected through other aspects. This trilogy later became known as the Three Flavors Cornetto Trilogy. This was due to the popular Cornetto ice cream featured in all three films. Along with Shaun of the Dead, the trilogy consisted of the 2007 film Hot Fuzz and the 2013 film The World's End. Each feature a specific cornetto flavor to represent the film. Shaun of the Dead includes a strawberry-flavored cornetto to represent the blood and gory elements. Hot Fuzz is blue to represent the police and law enforcement, and The World's End is green or mint chocolate chip to signify the aliens or the little green guys of the science fiction genre. The trilogy features much of the same cast and crew as well. Actors Simon Pegg and Nick Frost star in the leading roles of each film, and other actors like Martin Freeman, Bill Nighy, Rafe Spall, and Julia Deakin appear in various roles throughout the trilogy too. Other celebrities make blink and you miss it cameos in the films as well, like Cate Blanchett and the Lord of the Rings director Peter Jackson. The films are also connected by gags like the infamous garden fence scenes and through motifs and underlying themes. According to Wright, the films are all about growing up and the dangers of perpetual adolescence.
Got a mustache.
I know.
Each of these films are fantastic and represent Edgar Wright's unmistakable style and identity perfectly. While Shaun of the Dead is probably the most well-known out of the bunch, due to its cult classic nature, I highly recommend checking out both Hot Fuzz and The World's End as well. They are expertly made and highly entertaining. I think The World's End in particular is somewhat underappreciated and slept on. In my opinion, it might be some of Wright's best work.
Well, then let's get this antique on the road show!
Now moving on to other projects from Wright, in 2007, he directed a fake trailer in Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez's Grindhouse, titled Don't. Quentin Tarantino was a huge fan of Wright and has frequently praised his work. Later on, Edgar Wright became attached to a film adaptation of the graphic novel Scott Pilgrim by Brian Lee O'Malley. This was not too long after Shaun of the Dead originally released.
Hey, what's up? I'll leave you alone forever now.
The project didn't kick into full gear until a few years later after Hot Fuzz released in 2007. This was the largest budget Wright had ever been given for a film. It stood around $60 and $85 million, which was a lot more compared to Hot Fuzz's estimated $9 million US. Principal photography began in March 2009 and the film finally released in August 2010 in the United States and UK. While the film received mostly critical success, it didn't perform well commercially. Edgar Wright was also tapped to write and direct Ant-Man for Marvel Studios. But the crazy thing is, Wright had already developed a treatment for the character way before the formation of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. All the way back in 2003, in fact. This was when Artisan Entertainment owned the rights to the character. Edgar Wright, alongside Attack the Block director Joe Cornish, worked together on the project. Years later, Marvel Studios head Kevin Feige met with the two and asked them if they'd be interested in developing the treatment into a feature-length screenplay. Interestingly, Ant-Man was announced alongside some of the original MCU films like Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor. Wright was even present at the 2006 San Diego Comic-Con alongside Iron Man director Jon Favreau. Wright and Cornish developed various drafts of the project during the subsequent years, but sadly, Wright departed the project in 2014, just around 2 months before the project was about to begin filming. This was due to creative differences. Wright had even shot test footage of Ant-Man shrinking that debuted at the 2012 San Diego Comic-Con. Apparently, Marvel had writers come in and rewrite parts of the script without getting Wright's opinion during pre-production. This is where trouble really started brewing and led to the unfortunate split. Even fellow MCU directors like Joss Whedon expressed their dismay regarding this outcome. However, it wasn't all bad, as now Edgar Wright had time to develop a completely original idea he had been working on for nearly 20 years, 2017's Baby Driver.
So what is it you do?
I'm a driver.
The director's passion project began filming in spring 2016 and was released to wide praise and commercial success in the summer of 2017. Baby Driver was a hit. In fact, it went on to become Wright's most financially successful film to date. Wright joked, "It's funny how my oldest idea ended up being my biggest hit." Wright's initial idea for the film came in 1995, and he was later able to visualize a portion of the idea in 2003 when he directed a music video for Mint Royale called Blue Song. He utilized his idea for the opening scene of Baby Driver in the music video. The video even includes appearances from frequent collaborators Nick Frost and Michael Smiley. Baby Driver went on to be nominated for 3 Academy Awards, including Best Editing, and Sound Mixing. Wright is also credited in various other projects. Far too many to name them all, but I'll go over a few. According to IMDb, he has a thanks credit for films like The Lighthouse, The Shape of Water, and Suspiria. He's cameoed in other works like the 2019 video game Death Stranding, developed by the legendary game developer Hideo Kojima. He's also appeared in animated projects like Sing. He helped write the screenplay for the Steven Spielberg-directed The Adventures of Tintin, which both Simon Pegg and Nick Frost appeared in together. Music is a huge part of Edgar Wright's identity. He's gone on to direct several music videos like Colors by Beck and Gust of Wind by Pharrell Williams. So what's next for the beloved auteur? Well, he is currently developing a documentary focused on the pop rock band Sparks, and in January 2019, he also announced his next film would be a horror/thriller film, a genre he's always been inspired by. It's called Last Night in Soho. It's fair to say that Wright has left his mark on the film industry and is one of the most exciting filmmakers in the world right now. His style of filmmaking is instantly identifiable and full of so much energy. I'm eagerly anticipating Last Night in Soho, and I look forward to seeing what the legendary director does in the future.
How's that for a slice of fried gold?
Yeah, boy!
Hey everyone, hope you enjoyed this episode of Tales from the Cinema. I plan to do more content like this, so please consider subscribing, liking, and sharing. And feel free to leave a comment below and following me on social media at Tales from Cinema on Twitter and Tales from the Cinema on Instagram. It would be much appreciated. I hope to talk about more auteurs in the film industry and maybe some lesser known indie filmmakers in the future. If that sounds interesting to you, then hit that bell so you can know exactly when the next video drops. Thanks for watching everyone, and I'll see you next time.